Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Should We Stay or Should We Go Now? Brought to you by Cargas Systems. Today's speakers are Sales Manager Eric Gervais and Solutions Strategist Pat Bostic. We encourage you to use the questions pane on your webinar control panel to post any questions you have for the presenters during the webinar. Questions will be reviewed and answered at the end of today's presentation. With that, I am going to pass things over to Eric to get started. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So as Harmony said, I'm the sales manager in the Business Solutions Group. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about the future of GP and the future of the Microsoft Business Applications products and what your plans could be for both future upgrades to GP and things that you can do to incrementally improve your GP product, and also more transformative product changes that you can make to really take advantage of everything going on in the Microsoft Business Application atmosphere right now. So as you can see here, our agenda is to give you an update on Dynamics GP, give you a little bit of Microsoft strategy around GP and where that's going, and then we'll move into just giving you a brief background if you don't already know about it, Dynamics 365 Business Central, and then also Cargas and Microsoft. Where are we going with these products? What's our support and plan for these products? And then what are your options? What can I be doing about all the things that are going on right now with business applications with Microsoft? And then finally, we'll certainly leave some time at the end for question and answer. As Harmony said, feel free to ask questions via the web conference, and we will do our best to answer as many of those as we can at the end of this presentation. So just starting here, so Microsoft's strategy for Dynamics GP. So as you may or may not know, the current version of Dynamics GP is 2018 R2. There will be a release later this year. At this moment, we're not sure if that's going to be a new version of GP, as in GP 2019, or just a new release, GP 2018 R3. So another thing to note, if you're currently on GP 2015, that will mainline support for GP 2015 will end in April of 2020. And at that point, any GP payroll users will need to upgrade by next year if on 2015. And then finally, Microsoft is beginning to provide a migration path to D365 Business Central. And that migration path is something we're going to explain a little bit deeper in this presentation, but it includes both a path for data conversion, but also a path forward to get kind of sneak previews and functionality previews to help you get comfortable with the products out there and available. So we're starting to see that come in, and it's starting to be more and more meaningful as time goes on. So we talked a little bit about Microsoft's commitment to Dynamics GP before we talk about support and how that continues over time. I think the first note to make about Dynamics GP is it is the only exclusively on-prem product in Microsoft's suite of business applications, ERP products, that is still being represented at the User Group Summit. So from a commitment and an investment standpoint, we think that's a telling point to make in that they are still committed to the product. It still continues to get upgrades. Unlike Solomon is no longer represented at the user group. So there's a really deep user base in Dynamics GP. So we don't expect this to be a product that is going to be sunsetted tomorrow. That said, we do believe that there's an interest and from Microsoft to move things to the cloud, which we should be paying attention to. Microsoft's commitment to Dynamics GP is 5 years minimum for mainstream support, which means earliest ending of that mainstream support would be 2024. And then extended support, there's a 10-year minimum. So the difference between extended and mainstream support, mainstream support 5 years after the release of an operating system, which then pushes it to extended support. So this period usually runs for another 5 years, but you get less support. Essentially, it means the company stops adding new features and ends complementary support for that version, but it still provides bug fixes and patches. So strategically, once you get beyond mainstream support, you're not going to get a whole lot of new functionality, but you will still have a functioning product, and the product will have all the fixes and patches to make it still usable for you. So that gives you a runway here, certainly, of time that that you can think about strategically your systems and make decisions about what you think makes the most sense for your business. So sharing kind of further on Microsoft's commitment to Dynamics GP, you see here the Dynamics GP roadmap. So the 2016 releases, just in summary, were more focused on making the product more accessible in more places for end users and adding to the capabilities around Power BI reporting. So that was really a summary of what they did in 2016 with H1 and H2 releases. And then in 2017 and 2018, the releases focused more on workflow and the Power Suite, as well as Intelligent Cloud and purchasing and sales improvements. And then I think what's telling is the foreseeable future, they are mostly focused on the top features that people are requesting and Intelligent Cloud, which we'll talk about shortly here. So most of the investment for GP for the planned future is around Intelligent Cloud. So before we move into kind of full cloud and Intelligent Cloud, there are certainly some kind of baby steps into cloud-based delivery of your ERP platform. So cloud deployment options for GP, some of the reasons you might consider cloud hosting would be you don't want to manage hardware. Sorry, I forgot to flip the slide here. You want a more robust infrastructure, so something that's scalable, something that you can dial up and dial down as your needs change, as your business grows, or as the intensity of transaction in your database grows. And then you just want more flexibility. And then when you should be considering this is when you're thinking about buying additional hardware. So when you're at a decision point for hardware, that's a great time to consider cloud deployment options. And also just kind of, if you're in a position where you're thinking about other products, a lot of the other products that you're using are cloud-based solutions, SaaS solutions. It definitely makes a lot of sense from an integration and from a IT infrastructure management that you would be considering the cloud. So that's one way to think about this. And I was mentioning the foreseeable future of that roadmap and how they decide what upgrades to make. So one of those things is their own strategic vision for where the product is going through Intelligent Cloud. But the other thing to think about is there is a site out there for GP that you can go to suggest new ideas. This is part of this presentation. Harmony, I assume we're sending out this presentation post.
We can certainly do that, Eric.
Yep. So there's a link in this slide that points you to where you can submit new ideas for GP. And really the two methods for getting new features are Microsoft's strategic vision and really what bubbles up in this ideas area around what the user group expects and wants of the product in the near term. So good place to go, good place to know about if you want and need new things out of GP. So Microsoft is definitely making investments in the cloud. When we think about these products, the reason we say that Dynamics GP is a stable platform and it's not like you have to make a decision tomorrow to make a move is because of the mainstream support and extended support. But certainly when we say also in that same breath that it's worth considering and thinking about your strategic plan for the future is because Microsoft is definitely making investments in the cloud, and as we see it, there are a lot of opportunities to take advantage of things that Microsoft is doing with the cloud. Give you a little bit more background on what's going on in the cloud for Microsoft as we see it. So of course there's Microsoft Azure, which is basically the cloud-based storage and the platform that supports all of their cloud-based business applications and productivity apps. So you've got Microsoft Azure, which is kind of the overarching, and then you've got Dynamics 365, which is the cloud-based business applications platform from Microsoft that basically has Dynamics Business Central, which we'll talk a little bit more about, which is the mid-market ERP platform from Microsoft. It also has CRM or customer engagement in the cloud, and a whole suite of products around that, and then finance and operations, which is Microsoft's enterprise-level cloud-based ERP platform from Dynamics 365. And then finally, Microsoft 365, which is all of your Office suite of products, your Teams, your Outlook, your document management, Excel, Word, and all of that. So all of those things are connected through the cloud, so there's really unique interactions that can come from all of these things being in the cloud, and the things that grow out of that. So the really big, so that's kind of like the zoomed out view, but zoomed in view for today is the product that probably makes the most sense in the cloud when you're thinking about a transition from Dynamics GP is Dynamics 365 Business Central. That product was released in April of 2018. It's a software as a service SaaS model. So basically it's a monthly subscription per user. It's built from an existing product with a long track record, Dynamics Navision or NAV. So it's basically that product's all of that functionality extended into the cloud for all kinds of added functionality as well. So it is a full ERP system, financial management, project accounting, supply chain management, on and on. So it does pretty much everything that you can think of that that Dynamics GP does, but it also has connections to and integrations, natural integrations to CRM and marketing, so that you can have an end-to-end experience from customer acquisition all the way to customer experience once they're already a customer of yours. Overall, it just aligns with Microsoft's core cloud strategy, and it's integrated into the larger Microsoft platform. Not only is there connections to CRM and other products, it also has really great connections into Outlook that make productivity and having a different experience, as well as native apps. So the other thing that it brings with it, not only does it bring those connections to Outlook and CRM and other business applications, it also brings connections to the Power Platform. I don't know if you guys are pay attention to Microsoft's strategic vision, but the Power Platform is a really key piece to this, in that Power BI is a business intelligence product that allows you to dig deeper into your data, visualize your data, and really becomes an all-encompassing reporting solution across not only Microsoft solutions, but any other data source that you might have. Flow is a all-purpose workflow solution that allows you to both integrate products, but also create workflows across products. So think approval workflows from your ERP to email and things of that nature. And then finally, Power Apps is a product that allows less technical users to create functioning apps to solve problems within your business flows. So the ability to build a little app for data entry out on the warehouse floor would be something that you could use directly from Power Apps. So that is a natural extension to all of these Dynamics products, these Dynamics 365 products, and that connection is really good when used through the cloud. I mentioned it earlier, but also Business Central is available via native app on iOS and Android devices on their respective app stores. You log in with your credentials and all the functionality of Business Central is available through the app. So it's not just a subset of that functionality, it's the whole application. So will you be doing journal entries from your phone? Probably not. Could you put a tablet in the shop or warehouse for your team to view and transact their production orders or their pick lists? Absolutely. Your sales team can also use the app to create quotes and sales orders while out with customers, as well as see inventory levels while on the road and in meetings. So that app can really extend the usability and the user experience beyond just the desktop. It will allow you to use it in more mobile environments, and it is just a natural part of Business Central. So moving on to the Business Central roadmap, so you see it was released here in spring of 2018, and mostly that was just getting the functionality that was in Dynamics Nav into the cloud for the release of Business Central. Then as you moved into fall of 2018, you see they created parity between that on-premise solution Dynamics Nav and the cloud-based Business Central, and also built all the infrastructure around the development environment for Business Central. So that was really the fall 2018 release. And then in 2019, what they really started to do is add, you'll see data intelligence, all kinds of artificial intelligence. So they continue to build out the platform. And what we've seen is really accelerated development on this product. It's definitely a focal point of Microsoft. And then also the third-party environment of all of the apps and partners within this Dynamics 365 Business Central atmosphere has really been growing very quickly. So we're seeing a lot of investment both from Microsoft and the third-party environment around the product. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what is our strategic vision? So Microsoft clearly has a strategic vision for where they feel these applications are going, and we have our own opinions about these things. So for us, the first thing that we think about is we have a very large base of customers on Dynamics GP. So our intention with this is not to say you have to switch to Business Central. The sky is falling, more just to make sure that you're aware of what's going on in the marketplace and Microsoft Vision. We are still adding new Dynamics GP customers, both for implementation as well as support. That velocity has certainly decreased a little bit, but it is still a strategic part of our business. We continue to add experienced consultants, and we also are providing support for orphan GP users. So we're seeing a lot of partners out there in the market that are lessening their investment and importance of their GP practice. And out of that, there are other customers out there that are finding that they're not getting as great a service. So we're also picking up new customers as a result. And we're still members of the GPUG, and we intend to attend the annual conference. So both resources and attendance within the community, we plan to keep that going. So with that, we also have a commitment to Business Central. So we've put a lot of energy and time into training. Business Central is an option for any new ERP customer that would come to us. It's also an option for any of our current customers. A lot of the features and functionality of Dynamics GP is available through Business Central. Certainly a different experience, but something that is an opportunity for you. We're investing in the learning platform and customization. So not only are we investing in how to implement the product, but also in the development environment behind the product and how we can customize the product for your needs. We've implemented several customers to date, and we also have a couple customers in progress working their way through implementation. So this is a product that is a growing part of our practice. Just to give you a little bit of kind of background on the comparison between the two. So the first big difference between Dynamics and GP, Dynamics GP and Business Central is GP is a license model, whereas Business Central is a subscription. Dynamics GP is a fully on-premise, and Business Central is both deployed in the cloud and as a on-premise solution currently, so it's dual in that way. Cargas has been focusing on the cloud-based solution, but there is opportunities for both on-premise and a cloud-based deployment of Business Central. And of course, GP can be accessed through a web browser, Windows interface, and on the Business Central side, it can be accessed through apps, can be accessed through the browser. So you've got a lot of options there. And then finally, another big difference is upgrades just basically get scheduled and delivered into your environment for Business Central, whereas with no disruption, no event that has to happen for those upgrades. Whereas on the Dynamics GP side, there is that upgrade event that needs to happen for you to get the new functionality. And finally, Dynamics GP is a 5-syllable name, whereas Dynamics 365 Business Central is an 11-syllable name. So not sure if that part is progress, but we're making our way through the branding craziness of Microsoft. So you don't necessarily have to go all in. So we wanted to present a couple options here that would help you understand what incremental changes you might be able to make, all the way to if you'd like to make kind of the full change. Sorry about that, guys. So the three options as we see them are make a full transformative move to the cloud. That would include Business Central, and that is an all-cloud solution. The second option would be Cloud Sync. We've talked a lot about Intelligent Edge, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it here shortly. But that is almost the dip your toe in model. It allows you to get some of the added functionality of Business Central without making the full move from your Dynamics GP environment. And then the third option is do what you're doing. Your current deployment, stay where you are, but make selective investments to prepare for the future. So when we think about that first option of moving to Business Central, some of the reasons that you might make that move we've already talked about, but access to the Power Platform, business intelligence, Power Apps, and more powerful workflow through Microsoft Flow, seamless integration with Outlook, the ability to have basically a second user interface directly from your email, and then save time and money. We talked about this, no future software upgrades, and better management of infrastructure. It's a much more scalable solution and more flexible solution around data storage. And then grow your business with a trusted Azure. Really, security, flexibility, and scalability are really big benefits of going to the cloud. What Microsoft can do with a cloud-based product in terms of security is much more than you can do with any kind of server-based infrastructure. So the second option is one we've been talking about, is Intelligent Edge, or the midterm promo, as they describe it. This is a promo offer from Microsoft that allows you, as I said earlier, to dip your toe in, to try some of the functionality of Business Central while still maintaining your operational use of Dynamics GP. So you wouldn't actually be making a switch to Business Central in this experience. You'd be to get access to this, you'd have to upgrade to the most recent version of GP, which is 2018 R2, if you haven't already done that. And out of that, you gain access to artificial intelligence, the Power Platform, and added O365 functionality. You wouldn't be able to do transactional things inside of email, but you would be able to see inventory levels, information about customers, and all kinds of things directly from your email in a read-only way. So you wouldn't actually be updating any data directly to GP, but you would be able to see GP data in your email. And then finally, it's an opportunity to see the future without making the full investment. It gives you, you see on that little grid on the side there, those are, that's the price of this midterm promo per user per month. So the first user is $20 per user per month, and then it's $1.40 per user per month to add new users. So if you had 10 users, you can see how that would be pretty inexpensive to dip your toe in. This product works for Dynamics GP, Dynamics Nav, and also Solomon Dynamics SL. So all of those products are represented by this midterm promo. Give you kind of a brief flavor of those things that are available to you, but kind of a more in-depth view of the things that you can see are KPIs around cash available, sales profitability. You get machine learning. So basically, you've got a late payment predictor that uses machine learning to predict whether this new project that you're working on is actually going to pay on time. So it just crawls against the data and gives you feedback about its prediction around payments. You've also got, as I said a number of times, that connection to Office. So you have the ability to utilize your GP data directly from your email client in Outlook. And then finally, you get some of the data, not all of the data, from Dynamics GP available in Power BI. So you can start seeing the value of having information from Power BI around trial balances, general ledger, customer list, vendor list. So you can get data in a more visual reporting way directly from the Power Platform through Flow, Power BI, and Power Apps. So it's not fully functional. Essentially, this option is really an option to help you wrap your head around the value of making the move to Business Central without making the full investment of that transformation. And then finally, the third option is stay where you are. Our hope for you would be that it wouldn't just be stay in place and do exactly what you're doing, but our hope for you would be that you'd be making selective investments for the future of how you might improve your GP environment. And we're happy to help you through those decisions about what those things might be. So that leads us into kind of the final part of this. So now we know kind of the future for GP and its foreseeable future, what the new product in the market, Business Central, is all about. And the third thing is really planning for that future and what can we do to make sure we're ready in that future picture. So what we're finding is that basically 80% of CEOs consider digital their number one priority. So what that really means is Microsoft is investing heavily in making that the forefront of their business. A huge part of this transition is about reinventing how businesses engage with customers, their business processes, and how they take advantage of data and intelligence. So when you see new products and new investment from Microsoft, it's largely around the data of your customers, the data of your business, and how they can make it easier to access that data and to understand that data. Because all the data in the world is great, but if you can't really make meaning out of it, it's not that useful. So what can we do? So one of the things that we talk about here is creating a strategic plan. And for us, we think the timing is now. With these changes going on in business applications from Microsoft, not necessarily making a switch, but starting to think about what your future picture should be. That is definitely now. That's something that you should be thinking about and making a plan for. So some of the things you can be doing is prioritizing. So business applications are not the only investments in technology in your business you're making. So thinking about where this investment fits into your future plan is definitely a good thing, and starting to prioritize those investments. And like we've been saying, we're not trying to tell you a system change is required at this point, but you should be making incremental changes to improve your current environment, and also thinking about what the near future of your business applications will be. So some of the things you can think about is creating new value for your customers through a new product or service, perhaps making it easier for your customers to do business with you through a portal, and streamlining your interactions through mobile, and efficiency through Outlook. Get better insights into your business, so that includes things like Power BI for dashboards and analytics, and also utilize the technology available to you through artificial intelligence and machine learning to both make your life easier and also make more sense of the data available to you. And then finally, improve your employees' and team members' experience through collaboration, self-help access, and customized workflows that really make automation a part of your system. And the final thing we wanted to talk to you about today is, how do we go about this? What can Cargas do to support these efforts? We know a system conversion can be painful. Some of you may have done this more recently. Some of you may have done this a long time ago, but that can be a very tough event. So some of the things you can do to mitigate those risks are, make a transition from a Microsoft product to another Microsoft product. Certainly reduces the risk, and it makes for a more seamless transition from product to product. Implement a data warehouse. We haven't talked about this at all, but opportunity to put your data from GP into the cloud, which will allow it to be accessible by Power BI, build reports around it, but also prepare you for if you are planning on making a conversion in the near future. When you may or may not remember when you made that change, but one of the big things about a new system is how do we get all that historical data into the system, and creating a place where that data can reside and be accessible by reporting, but not necessarily have to get it into the new operational system, is an opportunity for you, and it's a way that you can mitigate risk of transition. We definitely talked about option 2, which is the try before you buy kind of model, which is the opportunity to utilize intelligent edge to understand what your experience with Business Central might be. So that's definitely an option. And then finally, another option to mitigate risk would be to stick with a partner that knows your business and already knows the environment around your technical solutions, but also your business itself. So we have a 5-year plan strategy session that we've devised that you can certainly reach out to your account manager to learn more about. And from our perspective, that's a free engagement from Cargas. It is a 2 to 4 hour meeting, including executives, that allows you to hear what's coming in technology trends, discuss your business climate and trends around what's going on with your business, review all of your current systems, and discuss possible future states. And then the outcome of that really is we will document the view of your current and future state and identify any investments and improvements that you could be thinking about over the next 5 years, so that, when all these changes come and when you're ready, that you've actually planned for and prioritized those needs. And then finally, targeting date for those investments around technology, both technology that we have to offer and other that will improve your business, and how it fits in with all of your other business investment needs. So I think that's everything we had to cover. I think that gives us ample time to have questions, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric. So as a reminder, feel free to put any questions you have for our presenters now on your control panel, and we'll give it a moment to see if anything comes in here. We didn't have any submitted during the presentation yet.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like we have a question came through here. How involved is it to upgrade from GP15 to GP18?
Hey, Tim, if you're on, would you mind addressing that question?
Sure, I can do that. So from 15 to 18 is not that terribly difficult. We'd want to make sure that you're running current or at least acceptable level of hardware if you're hosting it on site. But it's a single jump, and depending on the size and number of companies or complexity of third parties, it would be a fairly simple upgrade process. We do most of these now sort of as a fixed price technical engagement. It'd be, we could take it offline and contact me, and we could put a quote together for you for doing it. But it's not particularly, normally not particularly complicated unless you've got a lot of moving parts.
Thanks, Tim. We did have a second one come in here as well, and that is, how long will Microsoft be supporting and developing Great Plains on-premise?
Yeah, so the short answer to that is we know that there's another update coming. So essentially through 2025 for mainstream support and extended support through 2030. The development for it has been minor features around feedback from the community, as well as the obvious investments around intelligent edge to continue to improve the product. They are still developing for the product, and we have no knowledge of a sunset date. So there's definitely a new release coming. So again, not meant to be doom and gloom through this presentation. Certainly we expect GP to continue to be supported and improved upon by Microsoft, but we are definitely seeing a trend of the investment that they are making is less, and more of the investment is being made in the cloud.
Okay. It looks like someone here was not on for the beginning of the presentation and is asking for clarification. Is Business Central different from the Dynamics 365 products offered in O365?
So probably the best answer for that is Business Central is part of the Dynamics 365 family. So where you would have Dynamics 365 for customer engagement, marketing, sales, Dynamics 365 for field service, and so on. Then on the ERP side, there's Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, which is formerly Dynamics AX, and then Dynamics 365 Business Central. So it's all part of that Dynamics 365 family.
Okay, perfect. Looks like those are all of the questions that we had submitted. If there is anything we didn't cover or any additional questions that you have, please feel free to email directly and we will be sure to follow up with you. Additionally, we are going to be launching a short survey after today's webinar. We do appreciate any feedback that you can provide for us there. Again, thank you all for joining us on today's webinar and have a great rest of your day.